Oh, I'm sorry, the interruptions by the voice are
Casey, we could come back if that's okay.
yeah, and maybe Mr. Lister will join and he'll have a chance. If you see him rejoin, I'd like him to speak. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, Casey, for sharing. All right, we'll pass it over now to Sydney, your group. If you'd like to report back.
Hi, I will try to be brief. In terms of what folks need to know to make a good decision, right? What it is, what it costs. But we did spend a lot of time in terms of talking through accountability and deliverables. And so high scrutiny on what is considered a deliverable when it is communicated in the voting ballot. So a really quick example that I think captures the discussion we had was an organization sending out the number of flyers to a tenant clinic. The number of flyers that get sent out is not an impactful measurement of deliverable. How many people actually use the phone line that is sent out through the flyer that is actually going to change in terms of making an impact. So kind of making sure that whatever information we share in the voting ballot about deliverables, that there's high scrutiny to address the impact that it's having on the people of the Tenderloin. And then some other issues that were raised were a balance and a concern between the brief descriptions and longer descriptions found elsewhere, just that there's going to be trade-offs. So just being mindful of that. So I think that covers the meat of the discussion, though I'm sure there were certain things that I left out, but I'll leave it to the next group. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. So now, let's see, Code Tenderloin, did you all have a breakout room or discussion that you would like to share out? Code Tenderloin? Okay.
Let's see, Asil's in there right now. It's a couple folks in there.
All right.
Sorry, Code TL tuned in with Sydney's group.
Oh, okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you. Let's see, 201 Turk. Report back from 201.
That's Bushra. That's Bushra. Okay, hi.
Hi, Bushra.
Because I have a lot of noises here and a lot of kids running around. So we just write down all the ideas from the women. Also, there is some question they asked. I put it in the chat there. So if you guys have a chance to answer their question, it will be really good.
Perfect. We see it in the chat. Thank you. Who is in charge of the project? How long for the project to be finalized? This is all the women's voices and opinions. And then there's a lot more before that. So thank you for that. Planning team, to please save this for us to be able to provide the answers and clarity to the group. Thank you all. All right, so let's see. Andy, your team, your group?
Yeah, thanks. So in terms of what people would like to know, great idea to print out the menu of choices on a big poster for people to look at the pictures and kind of read and understand them before they actually vote on a device. Also use simple terms, stay positive, stay truthful and real, and make sure people understand how the decision will impact and the value that we'll have in the neighborhood. And then in terms of how to keep the proposals accountable, an idea to have like emails to the community or even brief surveys kind of happening on a regular basis. Just how are things going? How is it that do you see things changing? And just kind of like continually, regularly doing that to check in. And then we also had a bigger discussion about, got some good feedback about age of voters, where we should post up some voting stations. So that was really helpful. Thanks, everybody.
Great, thank you, Andy. I'll pass it now to Lorenzo. Lorenzo, could you hear us for your team to report back?
Actually, Juliana, we just joined like Ilaria's discussion. So not just a separate Filipino group. So I think Ilaria will just do for the rest of.
Okay, so pass it to Ilaria.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we talked about So the first part of the project description, so we were talking about what projects should bring to the table, should be described. People asked to see the project side of time. So not just show up at the polls and read the descriptions first. So have a method to review the projects earlier, which I think it was already in the making for our team. But and so also there was asking about stating what the project is bringing to the community. So maybe one of the criteria that we need to discuss, if we can change criteria, was to look at projects that are hiring locals. So it seemed very important for people to hire in local from the neighborhood, and also really making sure that the projects are quantified by timeline. This goes into the accountability timeline, number of people served, and also a list of deliverables and tasks that people can review at the beginning of the project. So then when the project is delivered later on, there is a way of accounting for, being a real deliverable for the community. So timeline, number of people, list of tasks, and then also this idea of making sure that we can actually see the projects ahead of time, and the description should be clear and have also some benefits to the neighborhood. So it should be a tag saying what benefits brings to the neighborhood. Am I missing something? People from my group. Lorenzo, did I cover everything? Or you wanted to add something?
Yeah. One of the suggestion of a TSA focus, like the local hiring, and you mentioned that already.
Okay. Yeah. And Norma, other question? Yeah.
No, I think you summarized it pretty well.
Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Ilaria, thank you, team. All right, I'll pass it to Belinda, who is representing our group. Belinda.
Okay, it's important for our group that the cost and the staffing of the project be set forth. But mostly it seemed like that we were concerned about who it would actually affect, what clients, and accountability for the clients being served through the project. But overall, I personally found some confusion as to what the clear intention of the project should be, and maybe that should be listed out more in depth. And we don't know if it's for existing or brand new projects.
Thank you, Belinda. And then just to add to that, there was some confusion around the definition of some of the wording to the questions. So just to clarify definitions of what it means to be community involved or community centered, what does that really look like? So just more clarity, I think, is what I also got from our discussion around the request and the ask, and also that not everybody from our group was submitting a proposal, so not everybody had a clear understanding of the criteria. And so that kind of caused some confusion as well. But some room for improvement, but I hear a lot of really great feedback. Thank you, everybody. I'm sure I've missed someone, but Belinda, I see your hand raised. Is that a new hand?
I didn't go either.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to know if for the people who are new here today, and I think Mr. Nolte expressed that he felt maybe a little blindsided, but he was new. Is there information that could possibly be emailed out to other members of the Tenderloin community to feel more involved in the process?
Yes, that's a good suggestion. Thank you, Belinda. So sending out more context around the project, the process, and the participatory budget for those that are just joining. Thank you for that. Okay, so we are exactly at 7, but Elgin,
I didn't go.
Yes, Elgin, I see you, I feel you, I hear you. So I'm gonna pass it to you if you can summarize in just a few seconds, and then we're gonna wrap it up. If folks can stay on for 5 more minutes, that'd be great. Thank you. Elgin, go ahead.
Okay. So the sentiment with our group was cost, budget transparency, just to understand how much is going towards the project versus the overhead. A robust description versus that two-liner that everybody is mentioning. Population served, where that project is locating and how it may impact, other folks in the community that's not necessarily being served. Translation, and ongoing participation as far as feedback. Just folks want to be involved in the process of whatever that project is, just knowing what it's like and when it will be implemented. And that's pretty much it, as far as that concerns. And yep, third-party accountability.
Accountability, yes, I'm hearing that a lot. Thank you. So a lot of overlap there from feedback. So thank you all for sharing that. So now we're gonna quickly shift over to project updates and announcements. So I'll pass it to Andy and then we'll close out with next steps.
Sorry. Let's see. Wasn't quite ready. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we did our report out. Thank you, everybody, for that. So in terms, so in terms of announcements, as Juliana mentioned, there is not a CSG meeting in December because we are focusing all of our time and energy and the neighborhood's time and energy on voting. We will regroup though in January on the 19th, always the third Thursday. We're also hoping, we still, would love to have a co-facilitator from the neighborhood, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we will provide training for that person. And if you are interested then in being a co-facilitator, so what that would entail is kind of like what Elgin and Cheryl did tonight, is presenting some of the slides, but also being able to facilitate some of the breakout groups. Please email Kamene, and I will put their email in the chat in just a second. And then I'm going to pass it back to Juliana for, and don't forget about the stipends happening the Saturday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I will also put that in the chat. Pass it back to Juliana.
I think there is one last slide to share. Let's see. Okay.
Sorry, I thought you were going to ask for neighborhood announcements. Are there any neighborhood
announcements? Are there any neighborhood announcements, community announcements? Thank you for the reminder. Community announcements, any events happening? I'm sure it's really, really busy right now that the holidays are taking place. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Feel free to share the events that you all have in the chat. And I see Curtis, your hand raised. I'll pass it over to you.
Since this is the last meeting beforehand, I just wanted to mention that Friday, December 16th, 5 p.m., Bodecker Park is the Tenderloin People's Holiday Tree Lighting Ceremony. And in the park, we'll have the mayor there, Senator Wiener, Dean Preston. There'll be live entertainment, music. The Chinese Rights Association choir is performing, the Glidettes. There'll be Skywatchers performing. There'll be other live entertainment. With a countdown to the tree lighting, and of course Santa will be there, and some prizes for kids.
Ho ho ho!
Yes, that's so great. All right, that sounds like it's going to be a blast. Thank you, Curtis. Let's see, we have time for one more announcement. Anybody else would like to share an upcoming event, community event, or community happenings?
There is a memorial procession that's happening on the 15th at Civic Center. It's an annual event where we remember the people who passed away on the street. And the procession happens, I believe it's at 5 o'clock. And people meet in front of City Hall, and the procession also ends in front of City Hall. Anyone who's part of that might want to give more precise details.
Perfect. Thank you, Casey, for sharing that. All right, so last slide. Let's see. And I believe, is this someone from planning want to take a lead on this? Or
I can jump in. So, yeah, as we mentioned, the planning team's reaching out to people who proposed a project or a program. So if you hear from us, then please get back to us because we'd like to talk to you to just finalize the list for voting. The December vote will happen in person in December, and our next CSG meeting is Thursday, January 19th. And we will send out this presentation to our group list. And thank you all. Juliana?
Yes, thank you, everybody. This is our last meeting of the year. I just want to say thank you again for all your commitment, your engagement, your participation, for being patient with us as we navigate these large groups and these Zoom settings and hybrid and in-person. So thank you all. I hope you all have a beautiful and wonderful break and holidays. We will see you all in January. So please be in the lookout for Kumene's email or Andy's email for next steps to keep us all in the loop. And please feel free to share that out with anyone that we have or may have missed. I see a lot of action in the chat, and we have some folks that are interested in co-facilitating. So that's so great to hear. We look forward to adding more faces to this beautiful space and leading the conversation, because we want to make sure that it's inclusive of everybody. So thank you again. We will see you all in the new year. If not, we'll see you in the TL and all the community events. Have a wonderful break, enjoy it, and take care. We'll see you all in January via Zoom. Have a good evening. Bye. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Adios. Bye.
Adios. Gracias.
Buenas noches.
Buenas
Noches. Adios.
I just want to say thank you so much.